Kenny Green, raw perspective, concrete and steel, keeping it good and raw, unity for the community, always. Hey, look, man, I'm up in the D, I'm up in Detroit, you know. I came out here some years ago and I invested in some things, and it was a rough situation. But I must say, it's gotten a lot better, and it's getting better. They got a lot of work being done on the infrastructure, on changing some of these storefronts and different things. And also, they stepping up their game on some of these abandoned houses, right? So I was sitting outside of a house that I'm working on, and when I come to Detroit, it's physical. I mean, really physical. So I was just sitting in front of the crib, having me a little breather, right? And two young guys was walking by, right? You know, and they was just grilling, like a lot of attitude and shit, you know. So they looked at me, I looked at them, you know, and I just started smiling, you know. I just started smiling, and he seemed like, yo, what you laughing at? So I said, damn. I said, I'm not laughing, I'm smiling, you know. Yeah, all right, yo, you could get it. And I said, well, I know how to give it too. Make no mistake about it. You know what I'm saying? So I see that was going to go into a certain direction. But sometimes, you know, you got to like throw something back. You know what I'm saying? So I said, look, man, all I was saying, man, is that I was just smiling. No foul about that. You know, I'm just saying, man. I said, why are you so hostile? You know what I'm saying? So I said, man, what's your name? My name? What you worrying about my name? I said, bro, I'm Ken, man. I'm working on the crib over here. You know what I'm saying? And I was just see you walking by, and I'm just saying basically hello. Really, that's it. You know what I'm saying? Yo, man, my name is not important. I said, okay. I said, well, man, you and your man, y'all have a good day, man. You know what I mean? So I'm chilling. About 20 minutes, they come back through. And I'm sitting there. I don't say nothing. So he kind of nodded his head. And I said, yo, man, what y'all into? Yo, what you mean? I said, yo, check it out, man. So he said, yo, I'm a rapper. One of them said he's a rapper, and one said he works for DTE. That's a energy company up here in Detroit, you know. And we started kicking it a little bit. You know, he said he's rapping, and, you know, that's how he going, you know, he make his come up. So I said, well, man, you know, I'm busting my hump, you know, when I'm in this town, a lot of physical work. He said, man, see, I'm not doing nothing like that. Them Mexicans could do that. I said, well, man, you can't outsource everything. And that's the problem now. We try to outsource all the work. Everything that we could do ourselves, we outsource it and make other people rich, giving them that bread. So as we was talking, I was just, you know, sharing, man, because now me and the two shorties, we in a totally different place, you know? So, you know, conversating a little bit. So I said, well, man, you know, I do some music and some entertainment stuff too. Let me hear you blow. Let me hear your rap. So he spit, you know, a few bars or whatever, borderline whack, you know, but everybody got to have something that they hopeful about, that they dream about, that they could be that, you know? So I said, well, man, I think you might, need some work in your game, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, we just talked. So now he was able to receive me a little better. And I'm telling this story because a lot of times the young dudes are not easily approachable, right? And that could have turned into a real funky situation. But I wasn't going to let it go too much further. But sometimes you got to let a person know, man, make no mistake about it. You see somebody with gray hair on their face, maybe they already did what you're trying to do. Not that they scared. They just know how to get out the way and diffuse things. So, you know, I shared some conversation with them. They shared some conversation with me. And I just felt like I'm glad that I stopped them and we was dialoguing, because I got something from the conversation. And I surely know they got something from the conversation, because we just kept talking. You know what I'm saying? And the guards were let down. And it was just cool. So I'm just saying that because, like, us as older dudes sometimes don't really want to say nothing, right? And the younger dudes always feel like the older dudes got the beat down on them. You know what I'm saying? We gonna play them slick or something like that. So I'm mentioning that because it was just a cool conversation after the hostility came down. So that's all. I just wanted to share that, man, for the folks. And like, let's just do what we gotta do to embrace each other, because every older dude don't know everything and every younger dude don't know everything. So if we share thoughts, man, we could win concrete and steel.
Open up shop, building blocks in the hood. Generational wealth, that cycle understood. Mom and pop, black hands baking the bread. Cash flows back to culture well fed. Spend that dollar where your people reside. Support the roots, let the family thrive. Brick by brick, we gon' rewrite the script. Black owned stores, let the tables get flipped.